The Oppo Reno 3 and Oppo Reno 3 Pro look incredible, and I'll be sharing all the details right after this. If you're new here and want to stay up to date with the latest tech, please hit subscribe, followed by the bell. So Oppo are going to be launching the Reno 3 5G on the 26th of December this year, and that's going to be alongside the Oppo Reno 3 Pro. We've now had plenty of leaks including benchmarks and specs, so we'll be covering all of the details today. We'll start with the cheaper model, the Oppo Reno 3 5G. The Oppo Reno 3 5G will feature a full screen display, but unlike the Pro, it's going to be sporting a water drop notch. The display is reportedly going to be 6.4 inches, it will be an AMOLED display with a resolution of 1080 by 2400, and that's going to provide a density of 411 pixels per inch. It's expected to be a 90Hz display protected by Gorilla Glass 6, and it will come with an in-display fingerprint scanner. The selfie camera will reportedly be a 32 megapixel shooter with a wide-angle lens and an aperture of f2.0. We're expecting 8GB of RAM with the choice of 128 or 256 storage, but unlike the Pro, which will be using the Snapdragon 765G, the Oppo Reno 3 is going to be using the MediaTek MT6885 chipset. The Oppo Reno 3 5G has appeared in a benchmark showing a score of 379,839 in Antutu. While this score is higher than the likes of the Redmi K30 Pro and the Vivo X30 Pro, their scores are actually average scores, so we need to remember that this is a single scoring and the average scores are always lower. It still, however, looks like promising results for the device. We also had a leaked screenshot for the Oppo Reno 3 5G that revealed that the phone's going to be fitted with a camera capable of images of 6912 by 9216 resolution and an aperture of f1.8. This of course indicates that the phone's going to be equipped with a 64 megapixel primary sensor, and people are speculating that it could be Samsung's GW1. The phone is expected to have a quad camera setup with the additional ultra-wide, time-of-flight sensor and macro lens. Battery capacity is expected to be 4000 mAh, and it will have VOOC Flash Charge 4, and it's going to ship with Android 10 in the form of ColorOS. It should be launching in a blue and white colour, and we're expecting it to also retain the 3.5mm audio jack. And when it comes to launch, we're expecting the launch price to be around $400. We also have the more expensive Oppo Reno 3 Pro 5G. Reports are suggesting that the Oppo Reno 3 Pro is coming with a 6.5-inch AMOLED display. It's going to have a full HD Plus resolution of 1080 by 2400, and this gives us 405 pixels per inch, an aspect ratio of 20:9, and it's reportedly going to have a 90Hz refresh rate. The phone is going to have an in-display fingerprint scanner, and it's going to be protected by Gorilla Glass 6. The selfie camera is going to be a punch-hole selfie camera, and this is expected to be a 32 megapixel sensor. For the rear cameras, it's reportedly going to be different than the standard Oppo Reno 3. We expect the same 64 megapixel primary sensor, but for the quad camera setup on the Oppo Reno 3 Pro, we're expecting a 13 megapixel telephoto, an 8 megapixel ultra-wide, and a 2 megapixel time-of-flight sensor. So the main differences here being that the Pro has a telephoto lens in place of the macro. When it comes to hardware, we're expecting the Oppo Reno 3 Pro to be the first phone powered by the new Snapdragon 765G system on chip. We're expecting this to be coupled with 8GB of RAM and again a choice of 128 or 256 storage. This will unfortunately be UFS 2.1 however. The Vice President also confirmed on Twitter that the Oppo Reno 3 Pro has a 4050 mAh battery with VOOC 4 flash charging, and it's of course going to ship with Android 10 in the form of ColorOS. Both SIM slots on the Oppo Reno 3 Pro will apparently support 5G as well. We're expecting the 128GB version to launch at $469, with the 256 at $512, and of course with the launch being in December, it won't be long until we have all the details. And of course, we're also expecting the standard Reno 3 5G to be launched alongside this device. As well as the Oppo Reno 3, we had more exciting news from Oppo yesterday. Oppo revealed a new prototype phone with an in-display camera and no physical ports. The prototype shown had no visible seams, ports or openings even for its charging. While this is great, it of course restricts users to wireless charging only, so it won't be suitable for everyone. While there weren't any videos documenting this event, we did of course have Oppo showcase their in-display camera sensor a few months ago, so we know they've been working on this technology for a while. Given that they continue to show off their prototypes, it's suggesting that maybe we could see something concrete from them next year. Not only did they showcase their in-display camera, but they also announced we have an upcoming Oppo folding phone. Like the other folding phones we've seen, it's also going to have an adaptable OS that changes depending on how the user wants its orientation, and it's going to be interesting to see their take on a foldable phone. Unfortunately, they didn't give anything away on design or specs, and we didn't get to see the device either, so it's still very unknown right now. Of course, as any more information comes to light about any of these devices, I'll be sharing with you guys straight away, but as always, I'd like to know your thoughts in the comments. Who out there is waiting for the Oppo Reno 3, and are you waiting for the Oppo Reno 3 or the Oppo Reno 3 Pro 5G? And when it comes to folding phones, what do you think Oppo's design will be? But thanks for watching the video. If you liked it, smash a thumbs up. If you didn't, hit the thumbs down twice, and I'll see you guys in the next one.